Hey, it is a Friday. It's a Friday afternoon now. I'm running a little behind schedule. Working on the microphone. I think I got it figured out. And tomorrow I'm going to get like this boom thing that comes in so it hangs. Right now I have to set it here. But anyway, I think it's going to get better. I'll check it and make sure it doesn't go out bad. I appreciate the patience you have all had for this. We've got a lot to talk about today. We've got rain in the forecast for parts of Northern California for kind of like Sunday into Monday, and a warming trend, and maybe a few inches of snow in the mountains. Surf comes up significantly on Sunday, Monday, like significantly, like Mavericks will show a little bit, and just spring-like weather and tree pollens, grass pollens, things are starting to show up. You might notice. So we'll start off with a few pictures, the 8-station index. We'll look at rainfall. We'll get right to the model, and then we'll breathe a little bit at the end when we do a little, like I like to call it, a love letter to California in terms of weather, right? So we sort of show some pictures, look at the birds, that kind of a thing. That's at the end, so you don't have to sit through that if you don't want to. This is Mount Shasta. This view is awesome. This is from the Alert California cam. Mount Shasta, kind of Bernie is in here, and then that's Mount Lassen. I grew up way down here. I don't know if I can see way over here this way. But I love this part of the Cascades Range. It's the southern edge of the Cascade Range, right before you get to the Sierra Nevada. It's right at that transition zone. And this is kind of Fall River-ish area, kind of MacArthur. It's beautiful up there. The weather, stunning. Overnight lows have been cool. It's going to warm today. Bernie today, 58 degrees. Tomorrow, Bernie goes 65 degrees. Catch this. Redding in Northern California today, 72. Tomorrow, 75. Sacramento goes 75 degrees next couple days. Southern California, you're mid 70s, low 80s. It's gonna be nice. It's gonna be really nice. Today, tomorrow, today's Friday. I screwed that up yesterday, right? That's the retirement thing, I know. I'm working on it. Like, I have a little, well, no, I'll go into it. I have this thing I do, because I've been knocked out way more times than I need to be. Like as a little kid, just get knocked out playing football, bike wrecks, weird stuff. But the first thing they ask you after you get knocked out is like, what day is it? What month is it? What year is it? And so I'm always preparing for that because I just know I just like I want to have the right answer. So I gotta get better at remembering the day for damn sure. I know it's a weird reasoning, but there's nothing worse than not being able to remember what day it is, which is, I can remember doing that a couple of times. This is the 60s and 70s when the football helmets weren't that great. Okay, so here we go. Let's move on. We've got the snow in the mountains to talk about. This is Palisades, but the mountains got 4 or 5 feet of snow. Mammoth got around 5 feet of snow. Temperatures up there in this area today, up around Olympic Valley, are going to be in the 50s, pretty warm. Spring skiing conditions, a lot of snow, and that really has helped out the 8-station index. And traveling to the mountains is awesome. It's spring break for many, so the timing of this couldn't be better. This being the really great weather. Let's see what we got here. Oh, here's the 8-station index. That's where I wanted to go. So we did just see the snow live. Now, how that factors into this is the 8-station Northern Sierra precipitation map. 8 stations. It's just a bunch of rain gauges and river gauges and snow gauges that merge together to give you the general health of our watershed. Because you go, well, what about Southern California? Yeah, they have a index, a series of stations they index as well. But for California in general, this North Sierra is the most important because you got Lake Shasta and Lake Oroville, and among other reservoirs. And so how this watershed goes is how the state goes for rainfall. So when we bring this up, we go, first thing we look at is this blue. So you see the blue line? This whole area in here, all this blue, that's average for this time of year. Look where we are. We're right here, right there. We're above average for this time of year, which is essentially, if you look, about we're at 53.2 inches, and we are at 53.2 for the average. So for the whole year. So we're doing great. And we're above that number, and we'll probably climb a little more, which puts us closer to 2022 and 2023 year. So the reason this is important they use it for forecasting flooding, um, long-term climate monitoring, drought management, and water forecasting for their year. So how much, because it's not all about just the rain that falls, it's about the snow, almost more about the snow and how it trickles out. And so there's the calculations they do to determine how much snow is going to trickle in over the next few months as the snowpack melts, which is amazing. So this is a really good sign for all of us. This is 1982, 83. This was, I remember this well. This was that El Nino, the first big El Nino that I remember, 1982, 83. And then that was heaviest rain. And then 76 and 77, 1976, 77, that was the drought that I remember well my senior year of high school. Lake Oroville was a puddle. And look at how low the index was. So they've been doing this for a while. And right now, we're all the way up here, and that sets us above average. 2016, 17, I forgot how wet that was. Now I'm thinking about it. I had a buddy up, Hudson was up in Tahoe, and he was telling me, he goes, at one point he called me up and he goes, listen, dude, we are at critical mass, being there's so much snow, they didn't have anywhere else to put the snow. So they start, like, infrastructure starts to fail. Like Tahoe can only handles, you get up around 10, 15 feet, you start piling those snow, you got nowhere to put the snow. And then it just implodes. And that they had just reached that point. Okay, so the eight station index is crushing. We are warming up. Let's see what we can see. We can see colder air coming in here, right? Here's California, or Bay Area. This colder air never really infiltrates. It is going to basically stay further south. Remember last storm, the cold air came straight down and got in. Now it's not happening. And you can see the clouds representing a warmer air mass coming in. Those clouds will increase on Sunday, and by Sunday night into Monday, a fairly decent chance for a few scattered showers. Here is the GFS, sea level pressure, rainfall. And we know what's going to happen, man. Not much till Sunday afternoon, Sunday night, and into Monday morning. So a little cooler, and you may be noticing these dash lines dancing around. Remember, those are thicknesses. Watch how quickly they start to come up. See how they rise up like that? So that's a warming trend. And then if I go this way, sorry, I went all the way back again, but see where they are now, the thickness lines, they're vertical. Watch what happens. They start to drop down as that system gets closer. It's a subtle change. So it's air quality, it's atmospheric thickness. So we'll get into that more, but if you get savvy to those little purple dashed lines, you can start to see temperatures moving up and down. You're advecting warmer, advecting cooler air. So these are, I'll just mention real quick. So these are these are our isobars, right? And that represents wind. So if I have isobars like right now, these isobars are lined up. I'm running perpendicular to those black lines. Okay, so that's essentially the way the wind's blowing, and it's basically blowing in lower levels. See the dash line here and the dash line here? You're advecting that air mass this way. In this case, it is a warmer air mass or cooler air mass, and you're dropping it in. It's not a big, there's better examples of that, but I just wanted you to see how you can use those dash lines. Okay, so this is the North American model. I wanted you to see two examples. We just looked at the GFS, now North American. So basically we know today's money, Friday, Saturday's money. Sunday looks pretty good most of the day for all of us. And then right here, this is a more granular model. Right about here, this is Sunday afternoon. Pretty good agreement with the GFS, right? Yeah, really good agreement. Overnight Sunday into Monday. So I feel good about that. I feel pretty good about it. So both the models agree. So overnight Sunday into Monday. How much rain do we get? About that much. That's not very much rain. Half of an inch. Cape Mendocino, an inch and a half at Cape Mendocino. Point Arena, about 0.65. An inch and a half of rain up at Crescent City, and in the mountains, a couple inches of snow flurries. And then we get another weather system in here somewhere around the 14th, and you'll see that add in as well from around the 14th. And you can see that that's actually April 20th by this point, so let's see, right? This is when it really comes in around the 14th, 15th. So, and that's it. I mean, through the next April 20th, today is the 4th, so 16 days, that's the rainfall. That essentially will be the rainfall footprint for us. So what did we say? Warm today, warmer tomorrow. Sunday, pretty nice, but increasing clouds and a little cooler. Saturday's your day for sure, weather-wise. Sunday's not going to be bad. And then overnight Sunday into Monday, it gets a little bit wet. I can manage that. I mean, it's not like all day Sunday's going to be wet. It's like, I think it's Sunday afternoon, evening. North Bay, north of North State, Crescent City, you guys will be a little bit more involved in the wet. This stuff out here in the mid-south, let me draw a line on it. This is crazy. We talked about it yesterday and the day before, but so this line here, that's a division between warm and cold air. The cold air up here, the warm air down here, and this line kind of represents the division. So it's a clash of air masses, and it's stationary or relatively stationary. You see how the moisture keeps feeding in from Texas and running along that line. The moisture plume is going to continue to be in that general positioning. So there's historic flooding possible, severe flooding possible. Oh, and the risk of tornadoes, which was prolific over the last 36 hours. I mean, I don't think I've ever seen more tornado video. If you get a chance, click on the Weather Channel or just YouTube. But the amount of video that's come out of the tornado out of the last couple of days is amazing. But it's a big event. This is at least historically in terms of flooding, because it's going to last not just through today, but through tomorrow and into Sunday. So it's nonstop for these folks. So let's see how that looks in terms of the watches and warnings. And again, out west, not much going on, but in here, you got it all. Red areas, severe thunderstorms, tornadoes, flooding, and again, historic flooding. We're talking just copious amounts of rain. It's basically a stationary system that runs right through here. So in terms of you and me, if you have relatives out there, it is a drag for them. It's impacting millions of people in Ohio all the way back to northeastern Texas. And it's going to last. So it's worth keeping an eye on. This is the forecast for tomorrow for them. And then you can kind of see the line. So, man, do you want to do this? Yeah, let's do it. Okay, so this is a cold front. See that straight blue? This is surface. Okay, surface map, cold front. And that it's at the surface. So we sometimes do upper air maps. I don't do a lot with you guys, except when we look at like precipitable moisture. But this is down at the ground. So this is a cold front. Those blue spiky little arrows, these guys, represent cold air in the direction that it is moving, right? So you see the cold, and here's one up here. See the spiky thing? That's a cold front, and that's moving towards this area, which the little red dirt circles are warm fronts, okay? So that's a whole nother, that's like going to occlude and become a whole nother thing. But here we do have, see over there's a cold front attached to a warm front. It's hard to see, I know. Attached to a warm front, attached to a cold front. Alternating on this line, that's a stationary front. And that's essentially some very volatile weather because, again, you're dealing with some very cool temperatures north and some very warm temperatures to the south. So it's worth keeping an eye on that. We will keep an eye on it. Today it's going to be beautiful. Livermore makes it to 71 degrees, 75 degrees tomorrow in Livermore. San Jose, 78, almost 80 degrees today in San Jose. I mentioned Burning's going to be 65 degrees tomorrow. Redding will be 72. In Chico, 72 as well, with 75 degrees in Chico and Redding on Saturday. And down in Santa Barbara, Southern California, down in San Diego, you're going to be in the 60s along the coast and upper 60s, mid 70s inland to the low 80s. So it's really going to be a nice couple days. Here we are at San Francisco's Ocean Beach from Mount Tam. You can see the swell's not really happening. And what mean it's not really happening? There's waves, but you'll see how small it is. And you can see how the whitewater's right on it's like right at the beach. You can tell how big the swell is by the frothiness. And a lot of times there'll be whitewater out here, right, out on the point. This is Sutro Tower. We're going to head over there in just a minute. And it's just one of those days. It's going to be beautiful. We'll head over there now. This is Sutro Tower. We're not looking back towards Mount Tam, though. We're looking back kind of down towards San Jose, down in here. That's the San Jose, Santa Clara Valley. And we're looking on across Twin Peaks. And you can see a lot of containers or a lot of barges out in the bay and light winds. Temperature, like I said, in San Francisco, 66 degrees today. Tomorrow, 69 degrees. This is Santa Barbara. And I show you this picture because I want you to see the Channel Islands. I know that's Franny. See how I don't get mad? Remember I told you the mayor story in Vallejo? Of course I wouldn't get mad. She's a cute little dog. These are the Channel Islands. And they keep Santa Barbara from having probably one of the best waves, some of the best wave conditions in the world. But because the islands sit out here, the swell has a hell of a time trying to get in. So over here, let's see if I go this way a little bit. I think I can. Let's see if I can do it. Okay, so right here, this is kind of like Rincon right here, which is world famous, probably one of the best point waves in the world. But it's hard to get swell in there because the waves come in, they hit these islands, and the waves kind of bounce off or refract or just die out for the most part. So Santa Barbara, probably one of the best bathymetries for wave production. Point Conception to Malibu, that whole area, this is Malibu right here, it's probably one of the best areas for that because of the way the points jut out. Also has to do with tectonics too, because the lifting of the seafloor is slower because of the transcurrent fault. We'll get into that sometime. But the lifting of the seafloor is slower, so the ocean has many years to work on making these terraces, which terraces are what reefs, like what we have at Malibu. We have this shallow that goes way out, right, and then gradually turns into deeper water. So the Southern California, from Point Conception south, has those marine terraces that are much older and much more worn down and really awesome for waves. The struggle we have, not really a struggle, but the thing we have that makes it difficult is you don't have, you have those islands, and the islands make it difficult for the swell to get in. This might work, this might not work. It worked, okay. This is Highway 80, and we are looking good, man. I love seeing all the snow on the side of the roads, blue skies, temperatures overnight in Tahoe, 20s, even teens the next couple of days, especially up in Truckee. But the daytime highs are going to be in the 50s. It's going to be nice, maybe even, I don't know about 60, but it's going to be pretty warm. Sunday, you may see a few evening snow flurries, and Monday morning, you'll probably see a few early snow flurries as well. So that's the roadways, that's how they look. This is how the mountains look. 21 degrees right now at Heavenly Valley. I may have to reboot this, much to my chagrin. And I rebooted it, and you're bearing with me because you're awesome. And there it is. Okay. I looked at this camera earlier, and it was full on whiteout. Trouble. What you see in the trees, the snow in the trees is always a good sign. Let's try it again. Let's just do it. This is how we've done weather, so I feel good about our trajectory here. Okay. Ooh, it looks a little windy up there. Doesn't that look interesting? See the clouds rolling in? You do see those. I know you do. Okay, it's busting out. Huh. That looks like a cold day. Let's move on. Let's go over to North Star. Different deal. It's amazing how North Star is not that far from Heavenly Valley. Okay, come on. No, come on. Stop. Please do go. Yeah. Come on. You guys, this is crazy talk. What's happening? All right. Well, we know it's 35 degrees at North Star. All right. Well, it's not. Oh, there we go. We're moving. Okay. All right. Vindicated. But not a super busy day. A lot of folks up skiing today. This is Mount Rose. I love Mount Rose because it's, I gotta check my stopwatch. That's a whole nother story. Okay, good. I love Mount Rose because it's more of an everyman ski resort, right? It's one of those deals where, it's not as expensive as other ski resorts, and the camera's not working. It is working. There we go. Yeah, that's a rough flurry for me. Normally, in the old days, I would have booted out and just had to redo everything over. But you guys you guys kind of seem to hang on, which I appreciate. So I just keep going. I did a podcast yesterday for some friends, and it was funny because they're like, yeah, so what we're going to do is we're going to edit it, and if you don't like the way it sounded, we'll redo it, and the post-production stuff. I'm like, I'm just going to talk, and then it's all going to spew out, and it's going to be what it's going to be, right? So, and I learned that's the best part about television, working in television, is your synapses have to fire pretty quick. And if they don't, you're done. That guys in TV. I think we're all kind of ADD or something, especially people who don't have, because we don't have scripts, right? We just talk. But you kind of have to have that, because if you're really a hugely thoughtful, cerebral person, I don't know if TV's for you, man, because it's like you're in deep in thought. It's hard to, you're not going to tolerate a bad sentence structure, which I totally tolerate. I know. I hope that made sense. This is Mount Rose, beautiful day, and I say it's Everyman Mountain because it's just not as expensive. Skiing I love it. I grew up doing it. I think it's an awesome sport, but it always has been sort of the sport of kings, basically, in Austria and Switzerland, and the history of skiing is very bougie. It took it down. It became less bougie in the mid '80s, I guess, and especially when snowboards started getting involved. But it's still bougie, and just because of the sheer cost. I don't know how families do it. And it's just so expensive. This is Kirkwood. Kirkwood's another one of those resorts that is kind of the every guy resort, which is nice. That's why I try to highlight them. Palisades is wonderful too. They're just big and they're very, they're bougie. They just are. But I do love skiing, and I will never. I'm not harshing it. I'm just more wishing it was more for everybody. Ocean Beach today, just 2 to 4 feet, barely. It's going to come up a little bit. The winds are starting to come up. One of the things we used to do out here at the beach. This is the middle of the beach. First thing is you kind of see it getting textured outside. There's a little bit of outside wind. You see that little white cap right there? When you're a surfer, you look for these things, because once this place starts to blow, it's over. So we check back in an hour, it's over. Whatever. You could surf it, but it's going to be kind of squished down. And then the other thing we used to do was up at Kelly's Cove, there's Seal Rock. And I've lost my sense of smell, so I kind of miss this. But Seal Rock, when the wind would come on shore, you could smell it, because you could smell the guano from the birds and the seals, and you'd get remember, I can remember it like yesterday. I bet you can too. Where you're just sitting out in the lineup, been out there for hours, and it's been a good glassy day, and all of a sudden you smell bird poo and seals, and you're like, oh damn! And literally within 20 minutes, the place is blown out. It's kind of a beautiful thing too, just that kind of nature. Just cue, if you will. This is the jetty, Surfers Beach, I think they call it the jetty. We used to call it the jetty. I've only surfed it in 45 years of surfing. I've surfed the jetty. This is the jetty. On South Swell, sometimes the swell hits in there, bounces off it, and then kind of works its way back this way. The swell comes into the jetty and comes out. And it's a good piece of sand. And I think it does get good. I just didn't live down there, so I was never getting it good. So just a little sidebar there. This is Steamer Lane, and it's small, very small. And this is another spot too. You can kind of smell the seals and the birds up the rock here. And just a beautiful day. You see the kelp. Tide's pretty low again, probably just bottoming out now. These are the rocks here that you don't usually see. Usually they're covered up. Sunday, Monday, this is going to be big. This swell's going to pop back up. So that's kind of exciting. This is San Diego. This is Scripps Pier. And it's interesting that they have as much swell as they have, because we have barely any swell. And so usually they're much smaller than us. I have to go, the other thing I found out is we look at the birds. So I have this camera, this DSL camera. Let me check your watch. And you only have so long to record, and then it cuts off. Like, I think it's something to do with it's a long story but all these DSL cameras only go about 30 minutes and they shut off, because they're not supposed to be video recorders. So I have to be careful. I got to stay under 30 minutes, which I thought it would be easy to do, but lately I've been chatting so much I've been not doing it. So I got to make sure I stay under 30. This is a dead bird here. Trees are blowing. These are the birds. They look great. The babies seem really healthy. I believe that's mama. I think so. Yeah, I think that's mom. And it's just a beautiful day up in the mountains, up in the bids. It's 145 feet up at Jeffrey Pine Tree, 145 feet at the top. And you can see what we can do. It's kind of cool. I did this because I was curious where they are. This is where they are right here. So this is a live picture of Big Bear Lake. And they're right here at a place called Fawnskin, I guess. Yeah. So it's in here. And they've closed this whole area off for as a bird sanctuary when the eagles are nesting, which I think is kind of awesome. So very gratifying to see the birds doing well. It's fun to see the size, how big they get. They're big, right? The nest is big. They're big. Mom's big. The scale is a little bit confusing. In other words, it looks like, oh yeah, they're birds, but no, they're big. Like I think, I'm not even going to spec, but I think the little babies, I think they get up to like 10 pounds before they leave the nest. 10 pounds. It's like I got that little dog that was just barking. The little dog's 9 pounds. So he's pretty big. Okay, so I think we covered it. I hope the mic's better today. Right? Appreciate all the comments. I appreciate you guys for, I got a lot going on. Like I got a company that monitors sports stadiums, which is really awesome. I do this. What else do I do? I got something else I'm doing too. I can't remember. But what I was trying to say was I have a lot going on. I'm kind of busy, but I really do look forward to this because it's I'm in my own head anyway, right? But you guys seem to want to get in there too. And it's just nice to share this with you guys. Nothing special. You can all do this too. I just take the time to compile all this stuff. It's kind of like my 8-station index, right? It's like go from North California, South California. We push it all together and go, this is the health or the weather or the happiness or the coolness or the warmness or the wetness of the state. That makes sense? I don't, yeah, probably not. All righty. I'll see you back here.